Go.
Hello, everybody. We are here with some very exciting news. I am Dane, one of the content developers here at Moving to Canada.
And I'm Hugo, I'm editor of Moving to Canada. We are here again in beautiful sunny downtown Montreal. It's a lovely summer's morning and we've got some news for you. The latest Express Entry draw has just taken place. Dane, tell us what happened in the latest draw. How many people were invited? What did they need to do to be invited?
Right, so in this draw, there were 3,600 invitations issued. That's a bit of a bump up from the last couple rounds, so good news there. And the minimum CRS score cutoff continued to drop. It, for this draw, was 460 points, which is a 2-point drop from the last draw, so more good news there.
So that means that about 45,000 invitations have been issued so far in 2019. If you got an invitation this morning, congratulations. You got 60 days to submit all your forms and documents, so get going on that. You can get information on that on our website, movingtocanada.com. That's moving2canada.com. But some of you out there might be looking for a way to boost your score so that you can get an invitation in the future. Last week we talked about provincial nomination, PNPs. This week we're going to have a quick word about language tests and how that can help you improve your score. So Dane, maybe tell us, do you really have to take a language test in order to immigrate to Canada through Express Entry?
Yes, you absolutely do. One of the mandatory requirements for Express Entry is proving proficiency in one of Canada's official languages. So your options are either English or French, and it's 100% mandatory. So let's say you grew up in London, English is your first language, you did your master's at Cambridge, you still have to take the language test. It is mandatory.
And what are the tests that you can take? How many are there, and what are the names of them?
Right, so if you want to prove proficiency in English, you have two options for your language test. The first option is the IELTS General Training. The second option is the CELPIP General. If you want to prove proficiency in French, you also have two options. Those two options are the TEF or the TCF. And those are your options for language tests.
And to what extent is language testing important with respect to the Express Entry comprehensive ranking system? How many points are available?
Right, so as far as language tests are concerned, with your CRS score, there are 260 points if you're applying as a single applicant, or 270 points if you're applying with a partner, that are linked to language tests. Within that, 160 points if you're applying as a single person, or 170 points if you're applying with a partner, are just linked to your base language test scores. And then there are an additional 100 points under the category of skill transferability factors. And that 100 points, language is a really important component. It's not the only component, but it's a really, really important one.
And is there a particular score that people out there can aim for in order to get a huge boost in their points?
Yeah, so jumping back to that skill transferability factors, the 100 points available there, in order to maximize your CRS score in that area, you have to land what's known as Canadian language benchmark of level 9 on your language tests. So if you're taking, I'm just going to go over the English tests because they're the most common for Express Entry. So if you're taking the IELTS General Training, in order to get CLB 9 on that test, you have to get the following scores: an 8 in listening, a 7 in speaking, a 7 in reading, and a 7 in writing. So once again, on the IELTS General Training, that's an 8 in listening and a 7 in the other 3 categories. If you're taking the CELPIP, in order to hit the CLB 9, you just have to land a score of 9 in each of the 4 categories. So that's 9 in each of the 4. And hitting that CLB 9 will ensure that you're really maximizing your CRS score. It'll give you the greatest possible chance of receiving an ITA and coming to Canada as a permanent resident.
So Dane, that's brilliant to know about language test scores. Maybe just a quick recap on this morning's news. It's July 10th here when we're recording. What happened this morning?
Right, so in today's Express Entry draw, which just took place a couple minutes ago, there were 3,600 invitations to apply that were issued, and the minimum CRS score cutoff was 460 points, so that's a little bit of a decrease from the last round. Good news there. For all of the details on this draw and for much more information about Canadian immigration, you can check out our website. It's moving2canada.com. That's the number 2, moving2canada.com. And on that website, we've got a ton of information for you, but also stay tuned here to our YouTube channel because every time there's an Express Entry draw, we'll be posting the results here. Thanks so much for tuning in.